because they're quite heavy, right? And a lot of times our customers won't test both incubators and radiant warmers at the same time, so we put them in separate cases. So when you unpack it, this packet is actually velcroed to the top here. It contains all of the sensors here, right? This is the storage, and then they'll plug on the top. So we removed it, easy to carry. That's where the device is. Okay, this is the placement pad. You don't have to use it. It's more of just a guide to help you understand where to put things. So you lay this on the mattress, and you can see where everything should be, right? The device would go there. This is the center of the mattress. This is where the center should be. So I would just place this on the mattress, right? This guide here is going to tell you the red color, is going to go in this corner. It's also labeled yellow, etc. So if I'm going to start plugging things in, let's do this. Could you unwind that for me?
So all of these are color-coded, as we said before, and they go to a specific place on
Have
the,
you help me?
on the little
Wonderful. Okay,
clock.
so let's start with all the temperatures. So all the ones that are color-coded, so there should be 5. So there's a red one, a yellow one, and you have something different. Here's one.
Once you imagine that in the incubator, on the mattress in the incubator, you already see how
Okay, and then one more. Okay, so these are the temperature probes. They look like this. Everything temperature, again, we'll plug it on the top, and they're color-coded. So the green one, we go ahead and plug it in here.
We need to test airflow.
Yep, and see this key here on the bottom, right here. So that will always face this part of the device, right? So that way you can't plug it in wrong. You're not going to damage those pins. So if I just face it down and plug it in, and thank you. And the T5 is the green one, so that's going to go in the very center. So just place that. Just so we know which device it goes with, for example. Okay. And then this is the blue one, so that will go here. I'm going to plug that one over here.
So we need to put those sensors
those two
on
over
there.
there.
We have a power adapter here that allows us to charge the battery.
Okay. So I have an INCU, and I always take these off, just as an FYI, because for me they get in the way, but they help people. Okay, so we've got this one plugged in, that one, great. Good, so our temperature is plugged in. Now these will pop out like this.
From the onboard memory.
Pop them out, and then you can place them.
Analyze it a little further, or to transfer the test results to our database.
Very good. So this setup is just for temperature for an incubator. We cannot use these to measure radiant warmers because these are very sensitive. So if I were to breathe on it, it's going to spike and my measurement will not be accurate. So these are only for incubators. These ones are for radiant warmers. They're color-coded also. You can see where they plug in, still in the same corners like this, and then one on the very center here. So the incubator setup, and then radiant warmer. No, it doesn't matter. So as long as this is kind of inside the circle, it's okay. Okay, so I just have my temperature plugged in right now. I'm going to turn on the device. What it's doing right now is it's doing a self-test. So if there's anything wrong with the device, it will tell you. But when it's ready to go, it's going to populate to the main screen. This is the main screen. And here you can see remember I talked about the 2 different kinds of testing, right? So this menu here is the standards-based testing where you see, choose an incubator or a transport incubator or a radiant warmer. And then the bottom option is the general testing. So if I'm going to test an incubator, for example, all I would do is use these keys here, navigate to incubator, select it. here's the list of tests that come from the standard, right? There's quite a few of them. This one's blocked out because I don't have the skin temperature that I talked about. I don't have that with me. But there's a list of tests. So if I were to go through those one by one by one, that would take a long time, right? So what you can do is create a test group. You can create multiple different test groups too. So there are some tests that require the user, the customer to be there for, like making the alarm go off. They need to be there. There are some tests, most other tests, you just set it up, walk away and go. So I recommend making 2 test groups. Ones that require you to interact with the incubator, and other ones where you just set it up, automatically goes through it, and you can do other things. So if I were to test, I want to create a test group, and I'm going to test the warm-up time, so how long the incubator takes to warm up, and then maybe we'll say, the uniformity of temperature, so making sure the temperature is the same here as here. When I select this, see that arrow there? That means it's going to say, are you going to measure at 32 degrees Celsius or 36 degrees Celsius? Is the mattress, usually the mattress will be flat. Sometimes the mattress will be tilted one way or another. But either way, the user can choose, right? So ultimately, you're able to choose. I'm just going to select one here. And then scroll down and over, up, down, and over, and down. And I can create all these test groups and name them. I'm just going to name it A, for example. And then I can select. I wish. No, it's not touch. No, unfortunately. So that's why I always stick to short names, right?
Cannot connect to the notebook.
Yeah. So I've got different test sequences. There's no limit to how many you can have. If I were to test this, all they do is press test and start, right? And I'm going to go back to the main menu. Now, if I'm going to test like a transport incubator, which are usually used like on ambulances or helicopters or something, right? We can also test that. They have slightly different standards, but again, there's directions right on the screen. So let me show you, for example, if I'm going to test incubator, like the warm-up time. Here is the directions right on the screen. So I would just go in right on. So start up, turn off the incubator, make sure it's at room temperature, and then the incubator manual always says it takes this amount of time to warm up. So let's say 23 minutes. It's entered in there. If it were different, I can change it. It's going to say put the sensors in position. How do you know what that is, right? Just click sensor place. Could you place that for me? The sensor placement, and it's going to tell you. So for this test, just as an example, it says place T5 in the middle. It doesn't matter that anything else is plugged in. It's fine. But for this one just needs to be here. If you don't know what a test is and what it means to pass or fail, because it gets complicated, right? Test summary will tell you what the test is and what it takes to pass or fail. That's important because, remember, at the end of these, it will automatically flow through it for you after you just set up the sensors, press test. But at the end, there will be a pass or fail indicator, and this lets you know how it knows it's pass or failing. So just follow directions, press test, ready to go. And the same is for the transport incubator and radiant warmer as well. Just again, for a radiant warmer, make sure that you're using these instead of these temperature ones. So the other portion, so that's the detailed portion, right? That's standards, that's very time intensive. I bet you that most of your customers are going to want to use the general testing. So the general testing, you select here, and it's going to tell you which kind of temperature probes are you using. So I'm using these probes. The temperature pucks mean radiant warmer. Now, if I'm not measuring temperature and I have like sound or something else plugged in, then I would just say none. But I have the temperature probes plugged in and it's already selected. I'd have to select it again. And then scroll down and then over to done. And what this will do, general testing, is anything that's plugged in. So right now I only have temperature. It will make this measurement continuously for however long I want. So this is important because a lot of times the customers want to do them very fast, right? So they'll say, I just want to do 20 minutes of a test, right? So that's fine, let it run for 20 minutes. Sometimes they want to do long-term testing, let it run for however long you want. You can change your sampling rate, so how often these will take a measurement here. So each one you can change all the way from 30 seconds all the way to 120, it's up to you. Where's it done? There we go. And then when I'm ready to go and I'm ready to test, everything's set up, turn on my incubator, all I do is press test. Everything that I have plugged in, so the 5 temperature probes, are taking these measurements real time, and they're updating every few seconds, right? And this is why I was talking about, how do you know that the temperature here, where the baby's arm is the same as over here? This is how you know, right? So I can run this for however long I want. Say, I'm just going to stop it for a second. Say I also want to measure sound. So again, it's keyed. The key will go always towards the bottom of the device. Plug that in. These ones, the other ones, the sound, humidity, airflow, can plug in these ones. It doesn't matter which ones, because all 4 of these are considered the center. So it doesn't matter which hole as long as they're in there. But I'll just plug that one in.
It's not turn off. It's okay, not turn off.
Yeah, it's okay. So I can change, it doesn't matter if this is over here. That's okay. And then I'll just put humidity here. Or that's airflow. I wasn't reading that. So the airflow is like this.
Can we touch?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the sensor.
Oh, the inside of it, this sensor, it's very sensitive. This sensor on the inside will actually heat up quite hot. So it's careful not to touch it. You wouldn't be anyway if you were testing. But what's important about this airflow is that when the customer is using it, their incubator, they need to know which way the air is flowing inside, because it needs to go through this. If the air is coming this way, you're not going to get a reading, right? It needs to go through here. So I'll just put that one there. And you can plug the last one in, the humidity.
Tức là những cái lỗ kia là chỉ cắm rồi, để cắm rồi chắc
Yeah. So the humidity sensor is just this tiny chip inside here. Yeah. Okay, so now I've got everything except for this K-type thermocouple. I won't plug it in, but this is what it looks like. It would plug in on the top. It's got a long cord, so I can, measure the mattress or whatever else. You can just use like a piece of tape is what the customer would use. The same tape that the baby's skin temperature probe, that kind of tape. Yeah.
So this thermocouple basically is from any Fluke multimeter or tester, right?
Basically, yeah. So I actually was just visiting a customer that was using this, and he said, can I use this analyzer for other things? Absolutely. So he actually uses this to measure, inside of the hospital laboratories with the blood samples. So he actually uses this to measure the surfaces of anything else. This will measure the ambient temperature of any room. So some customers also use it in operating rooms. But we have this for the incubator because they're super sensitive, they're super accurate.
I have another question.
Yeah.
The oxygen sensor. Do you have any oxygen
So
sensor?
the oxygen sensor isn't with this device, but we have a Maxo2.
Oh, you use Maxo2
Yes,
to do that. So,
exactly. Yeah. So
alright.
you can bundle those two. The Maxo2 is very inexpensive, especially in comparison. So you can bundle them for a greater
The
discount.
third question is drop proof.
What?
Drop proof?
This? Yes. I mean, up to a certain degree. If I drop it off the top of the building, it might break.
I mean off the table.
Yes, it is. Yeah. Yep.
And if I position it any way, that means instead of this way, or I use it the other way, it's not a matter, right?
It shouldn't matter. However, you see the orientation of the sticker here? So we like the INCU to be placed, if the mattress is horizontal, like this, just to keep it consistent, right?
Okay.
Technically, I could change it this way. It's okay as long as the very center is in the center of the mattress. So not this part, but this point needs to be in the center.
If in case I don't have the mat,
This?
okay, I can just put it at all the four corners.
Exactly.